Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Emilia Perez, starring Zoe Saldana, Carlos Sofia Gascon, Adriana Paz, Edgar Ramirez, and Selena Gomez, directed by Jacques Audiard. I don't know if I said that right. Please forgive me. It's a French name. Directing a Spanish movie. And now I have heard stories recently about this actress Carla Sofia Gascon saying some things on Twitter that I'd never been on too much and don't care to go on it too much, as this is she's avoiding going to award ceremonies for this movie for reasons that she did all that, and I don't know. We'll see how this movie goes, but yeah, but we'll see how I feel about it. Let's get into it. After the endless amount of studio logos, we start the movie with Rita, played by Zoe Saldana, in the best role of her career yet, as she's going to get the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in this role, as she's a lawyer who works day and night on a case and practice talking in front of the jury about the case with her client, as she sings, and they get to the courtroom scene and win the case. And I honestly don't like the songs, as this didn't make the movie look better than Joker Filet Dieu. But it made me look at it may look as that godforsaken piece of shit movie. And I wasn't looking forward to reading the subtitles for 2 straight hours, as I'm not great at reading subtitles, confessionably, and the movie is for 2 straight hours because sometimes I can't read the subtitles quicker than when they say it, which bothers me to death. Rita gets a call from, which is part of the reason why I don't watch too many foreign films in general. Sorry for those of you out there. Rita gets a call from a man named Manitas, played by Carla Sofia Gascon, as she in real life is a transgender, as this character will be in this whole movie, but I'll get there when I get there. And Rita doesn't know it's him yet, as he tells Rita to meet him somewhere, and she gets nervous, and his men capture her in a blindfold, and figures out after taking off the blindfold, and he asks for plastic surgery from being a man to becoming a woman. And let me rephrase that to transgender. And Rita agrees to become the family lawyer of Maritas and his wife and kids. And if I spoke Spanish, which I have to confess I don't, but I would be insulted by this movie because it's directed by a Frenchman, as I get the impression he doesn't know jack shit about people speaking Spanish. Maybe he does. I don't know the guy particularly well. Don't take it from me. Rita goes to Bangkok, Thailand, to learn about this plastic surgery while they sing in English, and there were times that happens for a bit of the movie, and for a movie set around the Spanish language, or Espanol, and eventually gets back home while Maritas learns she used his credit card for him, while she visits the doctor, and they start bursting out into song, which is part of the reason why I don't like musicals in general. Whenever they're into the middle of the dialogue and start bursting into song, that bugs the shit out of me. And have I seen Wicked? I won't say until I do that show. But he asks to meet Manitas, and he accepts and makes him in the cinematography. Despite it's nominated for that, I don't think that will win for anything except for Zoe Saldana, and maybe an international feature film. And after watching this twice for the show, I don't want it to, but everything else that was nominated looks and sounds bad, in my opinion. As far as the cinematography goes, I'm predicting Nosferatu will take that award away from this one. Rita meets Manitas' wife, Jessie, played by Selena Gomez, and their 2 kids, and the characters, with an exception of Rita, all come off very unlikable, while the doctor leaves the area with Manitas, wants to become a female so goddamn badly, as he has the money to do so, while they move to Switzerland, and Jessie is depressed about it, as are the kids, and her husband has enemies in the area as well as in America. And Rita tears up while smiles about it as they burn a diary. And Manitas wakes up as a woman, and he calls himself Emilia Perez, which is part of the reason why this movie's called that. And this screenplay, as well as the plot of the movie, is all over the map, as far as this movie is a complete mess. 4 years later in London, Rita has some dinner with some friends, and Emilia happens to be there as Rita recognizes it's her fucking client while in the middle of the conversation with her, and they sing as she was just passing through. While it wasn't chance that caught them up with each other, which was a horrible song, and she asks out Rita for Jesse and the kids to live with Emilia in her house in Mexico City. And as far as Carla Sofia Gascon goes, she's fine in this movie, but I don't think her character's great. But she makes the meeting of Jesse and the kids awkward as hell, while this script is shit big time. Rita chats with Emilia about how awkward it was kissing her wife and children as they don't know it's Benitez, while the next day comes and the kids don't want to go to school as Emilia kind of forces them to, and Jesse sings "Who the fuck is Emilia to take care of her kids?" And the songs were, like I said before, terrible, and the music numbers get worse as the movie goes on, as we move on to Rita and Emilia having lunch together. And they talk about how much Emilia wants Rita to stay while she has a home in a different country, as they get approached by a mother whose kid is missing and hands out a filter, and Emilia comes up with a business about missing people. And Emilia gets back home and gives kisses to the kids, and she smells like Benitez is what the kids smell like, aka their father. As he sings about his father as she cries, and the shots were, I guess, good, but not the best thing about the movie, in my opinion. As, again, Nosferatu, in my opinion, is going to take it home. I'll just say that much. In Central Prison, Emilia gets a guy to go inside a prison to ask if they know a person in particular, as it's never shown, while Emilia builds a business of her own where she can save kidnapped people, as she shows Rita, and she checks on one prisoner after another asking about missing people. As Emilia's business begins, as she films a commercial, and we get some people singing about their missing people. And does a song need to come up every 10 fucking minutes of the movie? As that annoyed the shit out of me. We get someone driving Jessie home, and I'm led to believe it's her new boyfriend, Gustavo Brun, played by Edgar Ramirez, as she is still led to believe Benitez is dead, while Emilia asks Jessie about the kids and her new boyfriend, while Emilia asks Jessie about who she cheated on her husband with. And she doesn't tell, and the acting in this scene was absolutely horrible. As we move on to the news on the TV interviewing Emilia and Rita, and they have a celebration conference while Emilia says her speech. Rita dances especially around the audience like nobody would notice that, as that felt very distracting. But at the same time, this might be the clip where Zoe Saldana is shown when she wins her Oscar, but the song was so bad. Emilia meets with the new client named, let me see if I'm saying the name right, Epifania Flores, played by Adriana Paz, as she learns her husband is dead while bringing it in a knife in the office, and she confesses it was as he was a bad man and laughs at it, which feels surprisingly too unexpected for as her reaction was so fucking inappropriate. And Emilia wants to see Epifania again after a meeting, and she has a crush on her, while back at home she sees Epifania as they're madly in love after Emilia saved her life from the dead yet abusive husband. As she takes the kids places and they sing about each other, while I'm honestly not seeing the chemistry between the two actresses. And I don't care for the relationship, as it's dead in the water for me. Rita has a meeting with Emilia while at night she goes to a bar to get a drink, and we move on to Jesse and Gustavo doing some karaoke and sing together about loving themselves, while Edgar Ramirez and Selena Gomez's chemistry was also dead in the water. As Jessie gets home and tells Emilia she got engaged to Gustavo, and Emilia tries to forbid her from marrying Gustavo, and she wants to take the kids away from Emilia, as she was originally Benitez along with Jessie's kids herself, and Jessie leaves them without a note written to Emilia, and she calls her and sings rather an upsetting song while on the phone with Rita, and Rita goes on the phone with Jessie about her credit cards being declined, as they're both pissed off, as am I, while Rita meets with Epiphania and talks with her about how she knows about her and Epiphania and knows a lot about Rita, as well as she gets a call from Emilia and the sirens get closer and the cops arrive telling her Emilia has been captured, and a boy delivers a bag which contains a box with her fingers while being chopped off, as she gets shocked to death and gets a phone call from Gustavo from Emilia's phone, and she asks to hear her voice, and this is turning into a travesty of a mess. And Rita hires 8 to 9 big guys to help rescue Emilia, and at this point, I'm starting to check out of this movie as it's so painful to sit through both times I saw it. Well, I did it twice for the show. Rita is on the way to Emilia's rescue with others in the middle of nowhere, while she almost loses her gun. And Jesse tortures and gives Emilia water, and at the same time, what kind of torture is this? As Rita arrives at the hostage situation, and she asks to see Emilia, and she'll give them the money while they want the money first, and Emilia goes free, and some big guys come out, and some guns begin firing, and when it stops Emilia confessing to Jesse, she knows everything about her, as she was originally Manita's while singing about it, and Jesse can't believe it was her husband turned into a transgender, as Gustavo puts Emilia in the trunk of the car and drives away with Jesse, as she doesn't realize what the fuck she's done. As they drive away, and Jesse pulls out a fucking gun and tells Gustavo to stop the car while he doesn't know what the fuck is going on, nor does she know what the fuck she's doing, and Gustavo fights her to get the gun out of her hands and crashes the car. That leads to Emilia's death because the car blows up, and Rita cries about it, and the kids come to Rita's house and tells them their mother was in an accident and she'll take care of them and have their funeral for Emilia, and every single client is there. While the climax was absolutely fucking pointless, but was it as bad as Joker Filet Duh, or whatever the hell that thing was, or worse? Let's talk about it in a rating. I'll give this movie a 2.5 out of 10. Don't get me wrong, Zoe Saldana is going to take home the Best Supporting Actress Oscar for this role in this movie, but the other characters are very unlikable, as Carla Sofia Gascon is fine in this movie, while Selena Gomez comes off very unlikable, as well as the other characters. While I don't like the songs, and this is part of the reason why I don't do musicals, as I never was a fan, and I'll talk about it more on Wicked in the beginning of that show when I get there. And I'm not a quick reader of subtitles, as sometimes they talk way too fast. There were times the movie got insulting for the people who spoke Spanish, or Espanol, in general, as this is directed by a Frenchman who doesn't know jack shit about the people who speak Espanol. And honestly, with an exception of Zoe Saldana and hopefully not the best international feature film, this might not win the Oscar for anything else, as the cinematography is bad, and my money is on Nosferatu to take the cinematography Oscar home, while the plot was all over the map, as it's a mess of a movie. This is as bad as Joker Filet Duh, and this doesn't feel like the fuck you that Todd Phillips did to Joker for Joker fans, as well as superhero movies fans and comic book people, as this movie is pretty insulting for the Espanol-speaking folks out there. And this is a solid non-recommendation for this god-awful film, and I don't know what the Academy was thinking of nominating this bullshit, as this is like nominating Joker Filet Duh for Best Picture of the Year. Well, that was garbage, as well as I can't believe this movie, Emilia Perez, is nominated for Best Picture, as this was just an awful film. Possibly the worst Best Picture nominee yet, and hopefully it won't take the Oscar home, as that was a total waste of time. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and coming up next, I will come up with I'm Still Here, that Brazilian film, and until then, and the Oscar goes to...